Hey GQ, I'm Chris Stapleton, and these are my essentials. All right, for this essential, first let me go get it. This chair was the chair that was in my breakfast area growing up. There were 4 of them originally, and they were kind of a yellow vinyl when I was a kid. My mother kind of recovered this one in the late 80s, I think, and it's kind of traveled around with me, kind of went to college with me or various living situations with me, but it's always been with me. It's been my guitar chair that I kind of sit around and play guitar in. Every time I go make a record, the chair comes with me. And right now I get to sit in the chair for a different reason, but that's the story of the chair. This is a 1964 Jazzmaster. This was the first nice old guitar I ever got, and it was a gift from my wife. When I received it, it looked very mint. I kept it that way for a while, and then I started feeling bad. It's a tool to me, and it's meant to be used, and so I've used it over the years, and it's certainly in the room for everything that I've ever recorded. Even if it's not played on everything I've ever recorded, it's played on a lot of things that I've recorded. You can see over the years it turned very not meant just from use, but that's okay. This is all honest wear. It's been a good tool and has served me well. Generally, I'm not playing an electric guitar in a writing setting unless I'm there in a studio with the whole band. The guitar that I would choose to sit in a room with is about to come in. This is a 1950-something Gibson LG2. It has a replaced neck on it, and replaced tuners, and somebody probably used it as a canoe paddle. There's like mud in it and so many repaired cracks that you probably can't count them. I bought this guitar very early in my songwriting career, and most songs that I've written have been on this guitar. These are the foundations of most of the music that I've made in my songwriting and record-making career. I paid about $380 for this guitar. It took about $900 to make it work correctly. But it's earned its keep beyond that, and I don't know all the stories that made it look like this, but it's certainly been with me for a lot of good ones. I have a friend of mine who talks about playing guitar in the way that you have to kind of throw your whole body into it. When you're in the moment of singing or playing, if you're not putting all of yourself into it, then you're not going to get that. But I try to do that at all times. But certainly there's moments where you know, all right, this is not the one, we're just working this out, that you're not doing that. But when it's go time, whether it's a live show or recording something, yeah, you just go there. If you didn't get there all the way, that wasn't the one, you know. The Jeep that we're going to take a look at is a 1979 Jeep Cherokee that my wife purchased for me after my dad passed away. She caught me looking at it online, said, hey, let's get out of here. We flew to Phoenix, Arizona, and drove it back to Nashville. It was all original at the time and had like 77,000 miles on it. And I warned her that we would not make it all the way. And we did. We did lose an alternator along the way. But since it made its way back home, she kind of regifted it to me as in a way that she kind of hooked it up for some guys at Hendrick Racing to kind of redo the whole thing. So it's as modern as it can be mechanically, and every nut, bolt, and screw on it is either refurbished or new. So it's a thing that I can get inside and once again have lots of great memories. It's special to me in ways that I could never get rid of it and hopefully never wreck in it. In this Jeep, I wrote the song Traveler. My wife was asleep in the passenger seat. I was driving and the sun was coming up over the horizon. I wrote the song while I was driving. We wound up stopping in Gallup, New Mexico that night, and I had to, take the guitar inside and figure out how to play it. So that was how that song got written, and ultimately wound up being the title track of debut album. So the Jeep has significance in that way. If you're a chef or a knife collector, you know what this is. It's a knife roll. This one belonged to my dad. And where I grew up in Eastern Kentucky, knives would be given as a sign of respect. They were things that one man would give to another man. So my dad, when he passed away, there were quite a few knives. I didn't really collect knives or anything like that previous to that, but I had inherited some from my grandfather, and these are from my dad, a lot of them from my dad. This one in particular I know was his, and I hold them and I think of them. They're from various periods of time, a lot of case knives. Some of them are from the 40s up to the 60s, 70s. You hold on to them. This one was my grandfather's. He was a knife collector, but my dad was not necessarily. And I think about them a lot. I think when I open these things up and touch them, I can feel connected to them in a way that maybe I'm not otherwise. So it kind of got me when they passed away. I kind of turned into, I would pick up knives, and as I was thinking about doing this, I was thinking about the sign of respect thing, and I really started getting in my own head about it, thinking about, well, when I buy a knife, am I trying to buy self-respect? I don't really know. Maybe that's what I'm doing. I don't know. But I do it to feel connected to my father and my mother's father, who had all these knives. This is my grandfather's flag. He was a soldier in World War II. He was buried, and this was the flag that was on his coffin, and they handed it over to the family at the end. I have given the honor of getting to keep this with me and always kind of remember the things that he had to do, so we get to do the things that we get to do. I keep this in my office. This stays in my office, and if I'm in my office writing, it's sitting right there by the wall, and it's always in the room. He was a man with a 10th grade education that wound up engineering for a multinational coal corporation. It's a testament to hard work, and very, very particular in the things that he did. So all those things, inform some of what I do, I'm sure. This is a hat, my hat, that I've worn for a long, long time. I had a different one years ago that was similar. My wife gave it away to a fan at a club one night. She's like, "You can get another one, right?" And I was like, "Well, no, not really. They don't make that anymore." So I had to hunt for something similar. This one's better. There was a reason, gave that one away. I always kind of loved crazy hats and the guys that wore them. The company that makes these hats is a company called Charlie One Horse, and this was made in the late 70s, early 80s, and I found it new old stock, and I've worn it nearly out. There's not a band in it anymore. This one's on slash legs, really. So hopefully my career will last longer than this hat will, because it's very, very fragile at this point. But the guys and the ladies in the crew have dubbed it Precious, so it has a name. It's a hat with a name. Mainly because it's fragile. So that's the hat. Keeps the lights out of your eyes. Once again, it's utilitarian, but it's also decorative. So it's been with me on everything that I've done. And when people think of what I do, I think they think of this hat probably as much as they think of me. My great-grandmother made this blanket. She gave it to my dad when he went away to college. And it sat around in chairs in my house growing up. If it was a cold night, this was what you pulled out. I don't know when it would have been made, maybe the 60s. But these were all pieces of material that my great-grandmother had saved from mending things. It got worn to the point where the edges of it were kind of worn off, and my mother actually kind of repaired some of it. So it has that kind of touch to it too. If I was running out of a burning building, it's the thing that I would grab in my house, So if I want a blanket, this is the one I want. This is a pair of boots made for me, custom by the Lucchese company. I was on a radio tour in El Paso before Traveler came out or anything like that. Lucchese makes really, really nice boots. They take you up to this kind of Willy Wonka room when you do the factory tour, and they're like, "Hey, we'd like to make you a pair of boots. Pick out anything you want." I think they were surprised when I was like, "Okay, I just want this kind of very plain pair of boots." They have much more expensive versions of things. I'm like, "No, I want something I'm going to wear every day." And that's what I did with these for the longest time. These were my everyday boot, and I wore these everywhere and did everything in these boots. I love things that have genuine wear on them as well. And so there's a lot of that. I look at these boots and I think about things that we've done. A lot of those things happened in these boots. They're special to me in that way. I always have a Filson jacket running around with me somewhere. It's this kind of wax cotton material. It's just kind of all-purpose. If it's raining, if it's windy, or if you just need a jacket, it works out for that. So it's tough. You can abuse it, toss it around. If a buddy I was in a band with, it used to say things like, "You can get your work done in it." I don't know. It's just a nice utilitarian item, and I have a lot of respect for things that work. And this is the thing that works. My personal style is absolutely, completely utilitarian. I want it just to function as a garment. It was a Filson jacket that I wore on singing the national anthem for the Super Bowl, so it works in that setting as well. Thank you for taking the time to watch my essentials, and I hope maybe you learned something about me that you didn't know, or if you didn't, thanks for joining us anyway.